Welcome to Superintendent Radio Network. I'm Golf Course Industry Publisher Plus Editor-in-Chief Guy Sobrano. This is episode number 23 of the Disease Discussion Podcast. We have two guests joining us, BASF Senior Product Manager Jeff Vannoy and BASF Turf Marketing Manager Jan Coetzer for a wide-ranging conversation reviewing 2024 and previewing 2025. During our conversation, we'll chat about turf technology, a new fungicide for fairways BASF unveiled this year, and how the company is positioning one of its solutions to help superintendents handle a looming active ingredient restriction. Before we get to the discussion, a word from the Disease Discussion podcast sponsor. Turf that's second best isn't good enough. Your goal is to be the GOAT, the greatest of all turf. Intrinsic brand fungicides from BASF don't meet the bar, they raise it. Take the health of your turf to the next level with superior disease control, increased growth efficiency, and enhanced stress tolerance. These foundational fungicides are formulated to deliver superior plant health benefits that set the gold standard in the golf course industry with the science to back it up. Refuse to settle for good enough. Strive for greatness with the power of intrinsic brand fungicides. Visit betterturf.basf.us to learn more. Now on to our conversation with Jeff and Jan. Well, Jeff and Jan, thanks for joining the podcast. It's always a joy to speak with both of you. We have lots to cover on this episode, which is our final disease discussion of 2024. And Jeff, let's start with a big, broad question. What has the BASF team seen from the golf market here in 2024?
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for having us, Guy. Yeah, it's been quite a year in the golf industry in 2024. I'd say, first of all, the health of golf, as we look at it, is tracked by like NGF in terms of just like number of rounds and bringing new golfers into the sport. And honestly, just the amount of sheer money that's being invested in renovations, such as, like new bunkers, complete redesigns, regrassing of greens, et cetera, has been, quite a large boom, as you know. We don't see those renovations slowing down for a number of years. It appears to us that the average public golf course out there is making good profits and investing back into their guests. What we see at our level as a chemical manufacturer, honestly, is that the investment really continues to be made in terms of innovative branded solutions like the one BASF supplies the industry. Despite there being plenty of generic type alternatives, we see a golf industry wanting the very best solutions, really to provide their members to the best conditions that they can afford. So, I guess you would say that 24 has been quite a strong year for the industry, I think, and, definitely for BASF.
Jan, what have you and the team learned about golf course superintendents' challenges and needs in 2024 based on your discussions and travels?
Yeah, Guy, thanks again. Thanks for having us. The major challenges that I think our customers face hasn't changed over the last while, right? I think things like labor shortages, right, is something that keeps plaguing our industry. If you look at cost management, that is something that guys keep on putting high on their lists, right? But then we also saw some other areas where guys might be having some challenges creep in. Throughout the year, we did a few studies and we talked to a whole lot of our customers, and we also started talking a lot about sustainability this year. And many people would think sustainability is something that has, popped its head up over the last number of years. But one of the things that clearly emerged in the discussions we had and the studies we did is that our golf course superintendent customer, they are actually a steward of the land, and they have been for such a long time. This is something that they have been doing for decades, right? And so for us, it was more about understanding when it comes to sustainability, how they see it. Two kind of clear opinions emerged from what we heard in the marketplace. One type of superintendent thinks that sustainability is definitely more to do just with the environment, whereas other ones would rather think, it's more than just the environment. It's got to do more with labor costs and with running your facility in a sustainable way so that it'll be there for generations to come. This is something that we also saw as a bit of a trend this year come up, right? So some sustainability topics, guys talking about water use, talking about, do they really want to have all the acres on their course as maintained turf, for instance? So those kinds of things also we heard this year. So, but unfortunately, I think the big ones, things like labor, and just maintaining the costs, and the usual challenges that guys have, keeping the Greens Committee and the members happy. Those are the challenges that they still face, and those are, if you as a solution provider, if you can bring some relief in any of those areas, you're going to have a market and you're going to have a friend to talk to when it comes to golf course superintendents.
Speaking of things people are talking about, there's been a lot of discussion and chatter about technology and data in the industry. Jeff, from a manufacturer's perspective, what has it been like observing this integration of tech and data into agronomic and management programs?
Yeah, I think as a golf industry, we believe that, agronomic technology is kind of still a work in progress, right? As I think it is for a lot of industries. The average superintendent out there really is still using the basic, the data they get from the irrigation systems and, of course, moisture meters and weather services. But I think the industry still has, quite a ways to go in using technologies to make actual application decisions. The challenge, I think, is always how do we fit into the picture with technology when there are so many different folks that the golf course superintendent has relationships with. I think will always be sort of a combination of data and experience. And, suffice to say, like agriculture, for example, is quite a bit further down the road on how they're utilizing and making actual decisions on what part of the field they treat, when they treat it. It's actually fairly sophisticated. And I think we're a ways away from that in golf. I think many of us have looked at it very closely. I know we have over the past 6 to 7 years. But at this point, when it comes to the actual technology of digital agronomy, we're still a little bit on the sideline watching and learning and trying to understand where we fit in that picture, to be honest.
Jan, what role does data play in helping BASF guide its strategic decisions, and how do data-driven decisions inform your product and development and marketing efforts?
Data plays a pivotal role, right, in guiding our strategic decisions, right, at BASF. We try to be at the cutting forefront, of data collection and the way that we do that, and we try and also utilize that data as good as we can. We have access to various different studies, right, that we can, try and figure out market sizes and see how many, grounds are being played and all that kinds of things. And then we bring that back and we really try and make it practical, and we really try and make it useful for the solutions that we then bring to market. If you take an example, for instance, we launched Aramax this year, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that in a little while as well. But we weren't in the snow mold market, for instance, before, right, in a big way. Data told us that there is a sizable market opportunity in there. And so we wanted to kind of action on that data, right, to help us make that informed decision. That said, data doesn't really work in isolation for us, right? We really want to balance the insights that we get through data from the real world feedback that superintendents can give us to ensure that our decisions not only are data driven and based in fact, but that they also resonate with real world conditions and the kind of things that superintendents out there face every day.
We're going to get to Aramax here in a minute, but one more question, Jeff. It's no secret golf is a relationship-driven industry, and BASF has cultivated thousands of great relationships in this industry. But how do you balance data insights with the personal, on-the-ground insights you gain from your customers? What role do these human interactions play in your overall strategy?
Golf is a very relationship-driven business, as you pointed out, and we have a broad field team out there with decades of experience and contacts to help folks like Jan and I and others gain those face-to-face insights. So field travel to visit customers to confirm different ideas we may have is a core part of our discovery process, to be honest with you. We also use consultants as well as ourselves to challenge, our internal thinking and honestly make sure that we arrive at very solid paths forward. It's amazing how good an idea can seem internally in the office that can quickly be debunked by just a few good customer conversations. So it's always important to get a field reality check when you're making any sort of decisions that could have, broad implications.
Yeah, and speaking of on-the-ground successes and insights, BASF launched Aramax intrinsic brand fungicide in 2024, and it quickly gained traction, especially for patch diseases and snow mold applications on fairways. What are some success stories from the field you're hearing and seeing that illustrate how Aramax has met real needs for golf course superintendents? And this is for either of you.
Aramax was a long time in the making, and in some ways, but we have seen quite the reception by the market this year in choosing Aramax, right? And we did so for large patch, but also snow mold, dollar spot, and other patch diseases as well. We have sold probably most of our Aramax this year after the launch. We sold in the fall promotional period, or EOP. By next spring, when the snow melts, we will really be able to see how much success we had in the field, especially with snow mold. But we are pretty confident in what we'll see. Right? Before we launched Aramax, we put it out on trial with over 100 golf courses all across the U.S. We did that as a big, not just a teaser, but also a big, robust part of us generating the confidence that we wanted to see that this product is really going to do what we thought it would do. And so we're pretty excited about it, and we can't wait to see how the people who bought it for the first time, the success they had with it, and we can't wait to hear some of the great feedback that people might have with the product.
Yeah, Jeff, how important is year two to a product's launch? And Jan touched on it a bit, but what do you learn about it in that second year, and how do those insights shape what you're going to be doing with that product in the future?
So good question. So first, we want to confirm kind of what our research has shown us, right? Aramax, it has a strong residual on like snow mold, for like long winters up north. So for example, that's going to be vital also to patch disease programs. We want to basically show that it's a good fairway rotational partner for a holiday spray program, because we put it into our holiday spray program. Obviously, it's a big focus on the fairway. So we're going to continue to push that hard, and we're going to want to hear from our customers how that's working out for them. These are all things that we'll be able to gauge from the significant sales that we frankly have seen in EOP this fall. It has been extremely good. And honestly, we can't wait to see, honestly, exciting results that customers will get from Aramax. Certainly, year two always comes with validation. So that we'll be looking very closely at our customers to just confirm what we saw in research.
So this is called the Disease Discussion Podcast, but we're going to throw some herbicide talk in here for our listeners. Herbicide usage is always evolving on golf courses. This year, we saw superintendents adopt various use strategies, with some opting for higher volume applications of economical products and others choosing more premium options with longer efficacy. How does BASF's portfolio cater to these diverse approaches, and what trends do you foresee here in 2025?
We're fortunate really to have an array of kind of pre and post herbicides at kind of varying price points. For example, like Drive Accelerate, it's very much a value-driven brand that still offers solid results, for your crabgrass and clover and, quite a broad array of weeds actually in the summertime. However, I would say for those wanting the heaviest hitting grassy post herbicide, you're looking at our Pilex. And so it's definitely continuing to get a lot of use in the golf market. It has grown actually dramatically this year. Of course, you can't forget our long-standing brands like Pendulum AquaCap. It still is used in a lot of the naturalized area programs on golf courses, not as much out in the fairways. But we've been always pleasantly surprised how many superintendents continue to use a value brand like Pendulum AquaCap. So we kind of have a lot of like different tools there. Of course, always like to get more tools in the herbicide area. But I would say that, there are a lot of approaches out there. And we believe that we'll continue to see a lot of interest in things. And I know we'll talk here in a little bit about Tower.
Yeah, just to echo what Jeff said, Jeff, you're spot on. I think when it comes to a herbicide portfolio, especially, for golf, You want to have that kind of portfolio broadness, or the kind of, scope of portfolio so that you can cover all the uses that you need to, right? But there is also this trend in the market sometimes to get very, very specific, right? And to start making herbicide combinations that, are very highly specialized, and the trade-off that us as marketers have to make, right, is it's hard to get a product that is broad-based or so broad spectrum that it captures everything. But also when you try and be more specialized, you start narrowing the market or the areas where you can use that product, right? And you start limiting how much you can actually use it, and that kind of limits let's call it the return on investment to develop that herbicide. So striking that balance between having pre and post-emergent herbicides that can cover the entire spectrum of the weeds that you need to cover without getting too specialized that you paint yourself into a corner there. That's kind of the balance, one has to try and strike. Like Jeff said, we would love to have a few more horses in our stable when it comes to herbicides, but we definitely have the basics covered, and we have them at those different price points that you can either go for something that is more broad acre value based or something that is a bit more specialized and really hits the targets where you need them and where you can't have too much of a margin of error.
With new restrictions on oxidizon, Tower, which you just mentioned, has become an important alternative for superintendents. How has Tower helped fill this gap, and what feedback have you received from those who've adopted it?
It's an exciting time for Tower herbicide. This is a brand that we've had in the portfolio since about 2011. It had a really slow start because I think we were still a little unsure of where it fit. And I think 5-6 years ago, we really figured out that it fit down south, warm season fairways. And so we are seeing, exponential growth of this great herbicide, honestly. And it's finding a place, in a world that's not going to be able to utilize as much oxidizon, as in the past. And we've also been in that situation ourselves, so we know what it's like to be in a situation where, hey, we got a great product, like Cureland, if you will, and you aren't able to use as much as you used to. So we see a lot of use, again, in southern Gulf, especially where goose and doveweed are major issues. And those are, of course, weeds that are tough to control. There's actually some resistance with some of those. We are very excited for 25, and we actually just recently had a seminar this fall talking about Tower, how to use it with our technical team. I know we are going to find more and more courses that want to integrate it on their fairways to control some of these tough weeds with oxidizon not being as plentiful of an option as it has been in the past.
Before we get back to our conversation with Jeff and Jan, another word from the disease discussion sponsor. Want your course to be considered among the greatest of all turf? Then you need a fungicide that's a fairway MVP. Introducing Aramax Intrinsic brand fungicide. This new disease-fighting powerhouse features an advanced broad-spectrum formulation that controls 26 tough turf diseases like snow mold, large patch, brown patch, and dollar spot, all with the superior plant health benefits of Intrinsic brand fungicides. Take your course to the max with the new Aramax Intrinsic brand fungicide from BASF. Visit betterturf.basf.us to learn more. Now back to our conversation with Jeff and Jan. Is there anything else either of you want to add about trends you're seeing with fungicide or herbicide usage in 2024 that superintendents should know as they plot their 2025 programs?
I would just say that BASF really continues to do a lot of innovative research in the plant health area with our intrinsic brand fungicides. You're going to see in 2025, we are going to continue to champion our well-known holiday spray program for greens and fairways, and that helps supers, with the utmost in playing conditions. Also, intrinsic brands are going to continue to dominate the industry due to the solid performance supers just have continued to see year in, year out. So we have a lot more exciting research we're going to unveil in 2025. And we're looking forward to expanding our campaign that we called the GOAT, which is the greatest of all turf. And we believe that we truly have a message that resonates really well with superintendents who are looking for that extra advantage in addition to great disease control.
Okay, let's shift to some big picture industry topics. As the new year approaches, the turf industry has undergone significant consolidation recently, with BASF emerging as one of the few companies actively developing new chemistries for this market. How does this position BASF to better serve superintendents, and what are some upcoming innovations they can look forward to in 2025? Without giving too much of the playbook away here, guys.
That's right. So yes, we have seen that, there's been some changes when it comes to, let's call it, the non-crop agricultural space, right? In the US, there's been some companies who sold their divisions. There has been some acquisitions happening at the moment as well, right? And with those things happening, it has emerged that BASF is only one of very, very few companies who will be doing those peer research, activities going forward in this space. With that, one might think, that differentiates you naturally, right? But for us, we see it more as a really big responsibility that is now resting on us, right? So we take it very seriously. We want to pull that role, and we want to play that role of being a player that really brings brand new and innovative chemistries to the golf space. We definitely have some things coming up with ownership in the space changing. A lot of the ownership of who owns chemistries in the future has also changed a little bit, and it's put us in a better position to be able to access brand new chemistries going forward in a better way. BASF is also, globally going to make some changes in the next couple of years that will even further position us to be in a better spot to access those brand new technologies. We're going to be leaning into that pure R&D space because we are some of the few ones who are left there. Knowing that, we also fully understand and acknowledge that it is getting harder and harder to bring brand new chemistries to the market. And so with regulatories tightening and with chemistries not being able to be as broad spectrum as they have been in the past, we fully recognize that you need to be also more agile and more nimble in how you bring chemistries to market. And BASF is definitely taking some steps in order to ensure that we can remain competitive, not only in the R&D space, but also in the manufacturing space and how we bring chemistries to market going forward.
Jeff, anything you want to add to that, especially with regulatory constraints increasing each year and what BASF is doing to innovate despite those?
I would just say that, the EPA, it seems like the timelines are getting more and more challenging. We see it on our crop business, and of course in our business as well. At the end of the day, Guy, the most important thing is the kind of people you have. And I'll say at BASF, and I've been here, as you know, a very long time, we have some of the best people. And I think that's the chemistry part that sometimes can get quickly overlooked, right, when we're looking for a big new molecule. But we got the right team put together, both, as BASF as a whole, but certainly in our professional golf business. I have a lot of confidence that we are going to be able to continue to overcome hurdles such as regulatory and find a new molecules.
Jeff, it's clear that BASF doesn't just launch products to fill perceived gaps. Your team works closely with superintendents to fit their needs and what is needed in the field. Just how do you go about that interaction with customers, and what type of interaction can they expect in 2025?
First of all, we have a very, in-depth and intricate process using roadmaps for our portfolio. We update those multiple times a year, and we share them with our key stakeholders across the organization. So those folks that are looking for new chemistry know what we need. And I'll just give you a really good example. So albeit that we have a very broad portfolio in the fungicide area and really very few gaps now that we've launched a snowmole product, we really need a good pythium fungicide, right? No surprise. that's one of the few major diseases that we still need a good solution for. So each year, what we do is we spend time, every month with our R&D teams, making sure they understand what it is we need and what we need that product to do for our customers. And keeping those roadmaps at the forefront is a really important part of the process that we face in making sure that we can continue to be successful.
Jan, where can the industry expect to find your team in 2025? Tell them where you're going to be, and I'm sure it's a busy year.
Yeah, we're expecting next year to be pretty busy. We've got a team that is kind of scattered all around golf, right? So us as a marketing team, we do get out and we travel as much as we can, right? There's that, what do they call it, nihito, which is that nothing important happens in the office, right? And so we do try and get out as much as we can to try and talk to supers and also to distributor sales reps, right? That's also a resource that we often tap into, and we try and talk to end user customers, but also distribution customers as often as we get the chance. We're also going to be, I think, the biggest kickoff next year is going to be at the golf show, right? So we're definitely going to be there. We're going to have a booth there again, and we're very excited to have Aramax in that booth for the first time. Last year, we kind of was just a teaser. This time, it's a full launch, right? And so we'd love for people to come around. We might have something very interesting and intriguing to get people into our booth, and we hope to have a little bit of fun with our customers there as well. So we definitely want to invite people there. But then also, our reps and our technical, team, they're all over the place next year, right? You can expect to find us at the larger tournaments next year, definitely as we again lean into trying to support our industry from that perspective. We always love being at tournament support because it really gives us a chance to sit down with the volunteers who work there and really, sit and listen and learn from them about what challenges they face and how we might be able to help them. But we also not only go to the big ones, we love to support the smaller tournaments all over the place. As you know, next year we're going to have hopefully another one of your editions, of the magazine going out with our big day, where we want to really showcase these the smaller tournaments that are equally super important to golf courses that might not be on that big international stage, but it's still a very big day for those courses to host. And we love supporting those as well. We learn from them just as much as we do from the big ones. There, we're going to be at the regional golf, events. As you look at like the Carolina shows up, next week, and we have people there. Again, we will next year as well. And then we also make sure that we have our reps and our salespeople present at the GCSAA, at the chapters and at the meetings regionally and locally. So we try to be everywhere, but we are a small and lean team. And so as far as we can, we try and get almost everywhere that we can touch.
Our big day was one of my favorite projects that I've done in my 10 and a half years at golf course industry, to give recognition to local events, charity events, chapter events, events that really give back to their communities. Jeff, I'm going to end it on this. How rewarding is it when you hear from a golf course superintendent and they mention that BASF has helped them get through a tough spot or helped them host a big event that maybe you didn't know about, a story that you learned about that way? How rewarding is it when you hear those stories?
Well, it's great because, at the end of the day, what we help foster is so much enjoyment, family time with friends out on a golf course. And the superintendent and the maintenance team, they are the guys that help make that happen. So I think we always get a ton of satisfaction when we hear stories of folks that have been helped by our people, our chemistries, our sponsorship, whatever it is. We do a lot of different things out there, but at the end of the day, we don't build rockets. We build chemistry that helps for a brighter future for a lot of golf courses. And, when you see the photos of a dad and a son out there, and you realize you're helping create generational relationships, friendships, et cetera. it's a cool part of our industry. And I mean, I've been in it now 32 years, and it's just always been something I've loved.
Well, Jeff and Jan, it's always a joy to speak with both of you. Thank you so much for the time. You're two of the smartest people we know in the industry. And also thanks for everything that BASF does to make golf a better game and to help out golf course superintendents and their team. We really enjoyed catching up with you, and we can't wait to see you in 2025.
Thanks so much, Guy. It's always great talking to you too.
Guy, thank you. I really enjoyed this.